my cuties and my beauties, and welcome back. Continue. Today we're continuing with a book. The book I was not expecting to be a book. This shouldn't be a depressing memory for us all. What? Doodle mode is not available. We can speak to Ashley to access doodle mode. Zoom! Why am I so fast? Alright, we read The Fisherman Part 2. We did the billiards last time. That's where we left off. Caution, cleaning in progress. Look at them down there. I want to talk to them. I want to read their tale. Alright, oh, look at that little tiny chalkboard. Can't crouch. Ashley stepped behind the counter and winced as the floor creaked under her feet. Maddie was nowhere to be seen, but Maddie did possess a remarkably sharp sense of hearing. Ironically, the cafe was empty as Ashley tiptoed to the case where Maddie kept the baked goods. Ashley lifted the glass lid off the case and closed her eyes as the scent of yesterday's lamingtons wafted up and overwhelmed her. Ashley had spent most of her life convinced that she didn't like coconuts, but that had changed the day that Shay introduced her to lamingtons. To be fair, Ashley still wasn't sure that she actually liked coconuts. Chocolate frosting could make anything taste good, but she couldn't deny its irresistible allure. Ashley lifted a lamington from the case and gently set the lid back down. She raised the lamington to her lips and opened her mouth to take a bite. Ashley? In a moment of panic, Ashley shoved the pastry in her mouth and sealed her lips. Her mouth was quickly overwhelmed by the pastry's thick frosting cover, and she did her best to choke it down before turning to face Maddie. Said Ashley, hoping that her cheeks didn't betray what was inside. Ah, good, you're here, said Maddie. It was a bad sign any time Maddie expressed pleasure at seeing Ashley. Normally, Maddie wavered between being annoyed by Ashley's presence and being indifferently tolerant of her. Anytime Maddie was happy to see Ashley, it meant work. I need you to deliver something to Shay for me, said Maddie, turning to the counter to pick a small box of something. As Maddie turned her attention to the bottle, Ashley took advantage of the momentary distraction to go down the remainder of the pastry. No time to chew, but her teeth couldn't have done much good with the thick frosting. You're not busy, are you? Said Maddie. Ashley shook her head no. The pastry was no longer inside her mouth to create a conspicuous bulge of cheeks, but opening her mouth would reveal the thick chocolate frosting that was still probably present on her teeth. So she kept her lips sealed. Good, said Maddie. He's upstairs. Get this to him ASAP. She handed the bottle to Ashley, and Ashley found herself surprised by how light the bottle was. But looking down, she could see that the bottle had thin walls. Within those thin walls, it contained some clear liquid, and its seal was held in place with a metal clamp, hermetically sealed. Ashley turned toward the chairs, holding the neck of the bottle in one hand and let out a sigh. One last thing. Ashley swallowed her sigh with a gulp and closed her mouth before facing Maddie, lips tightly shut. Be careful not to drop it, said Maddie. Thousands could die if you spilled any of it. In any other situation, Ashley would have asked Maddie a probing question to figure out what was in the bottle, or get some idea of the significance of the task that had been assigned to her. Significant enough that thousands of lives held in the balance, but apparently not important enough for Maddie to do it himself. but Ashley's lips remained sealed, and she merely nodded and turned around. Lamingtons were not meant to be consumed in a single bite, especially by mouths as small as Ashley's, and the thickness of frosting that lingered in her mouth and throat made her desperate to ask for some kind of drink, but she dared not ask for one. Ashley looked down at the bottle, unsure of the best way to carry it. The bottle was slightly too large for her to hold it in just one hand, grasping in front of her. The two hands felt awkward. The bottle wasn't heavy, but Ashley's confidence in her ability to carry the bottle without dropping it was less than perfect. Should she carry it under her arm protectively? No, that seemed like it put her at a greater risk of fumbling the bottle. The crook of her elbow wasn't as dexterous as her fingertips. She settled for carrying the bottle with one hand placed under the bottom to hold the weight, and the other hand wrapped around the neck to steady it. Ashley walked slowly with the bottle as she ascended the stairs. Maddie hadn't told her that the liquid was volatile, and the bottle was hermetically sealed, so there was zero chance of anything spilling out. But that didn't change the sense of trepidation Ashley felt, armed with the knowledge that there were potentially thousands of lives at stake. She cringed every time she saw the liquid sloshing inside the bottle, leaping up and lapping the edge of the seal. Ashley realized her arms were shaking and pressed the bottle against her chest, hoping to steady it. As Ashley's hands shook nervously with the bottle held against her chest, she wondered if the large amount of sugar she had just forced down her throat had something to do with the shaking. It was more likely that her shaking was the result of being told that thousands of lives could be lost if she dropped the bottle. Still, the lingering taste of pastry in her mouth didn't help. Ashley silently lamented the fact that she had been forced to consume the lamington so abruptly. Lamingtons were a treat to be savored, not shoved into one's mouth in a moment of panic. She hadn't even had the chance to properly enjoy it. It was hard to simultaneously feel the pleasure of a tasty treat and the panic of being caught. Whatever the outcome of this errand, she had wasted a wonderful pastry. Several agonizing minutes later, Ashley arrived at the top of the stairs and spotted Shay standing at the handrail. As Ashley walked up, Shay turned to face her, and she presented him with the bottle. Ashley cleared her throat of any lingering sickness before speaking. Maddie asked you, said you near this? Ah, good, said Shay. I was running low. Ashley guessed with relief as Shay took the bottle from her and started taking deep, labored breaths, suddenly becoming aware of how her heart rate was. Shay opened the seal on the bottle, then splashed some of it onto a rag. Several drops dripped onto the floor, and Ashley let out a terrified squeak. Something wrong, said Shay. Maddie said that thousands of lives could be destroyed by what's in that bottle. Well, that's the idea, said Shay, as he folded the rag and ran it along the railing that overlooked the cafe's ground level. This is supposed to kill 99.9% of all bacteria. That still leaves hundreds of bacteria alive, but I try not to think too hard about that part. Ashley's jaw dropped. It's disinfectant? Yeah, said Shay. Why, did Maddie not tell you? Ashley's shoulders slumped in a mix of reflex and exasperation. She only told me that it could kill thousands. And you didn't ask what she meant by that? No, said Ashley. I was preoccupied. Huh, said Shay. He turned his attention back to the railing, inspecting it for a moment before continuing to wipe it. Ashley turned to head backstairs. Backstairs. By the way, Ashley turned to face Shay. He reached out and placed a finger on her shirt, wiping off a bit of frosting. He raised it to his finger and smelled it. Ah, chocolate? He said. Yes, said Ashley. One of Maddie's lamentations? Yes, said Ashley. Shay nodded and licked the frosting off his finger. Go downstairs and bring one out for me, too, will you? A delicate operation indeed. Ah. Advisory role. After that, I think it's... Oh! Maddie's inbox and then... keep the balance, I guess. Let me take a quick drink as I felt a little lightheaded already. That was... I am really not used to talking this much, you know? Maddie wasn't washing her hands when Ashley poked her head around the corner. Here to confess something, or here to ask for something, thought Maddie to herself as she dried her hands and turned to face the girl. The grin on Ashley's face confirmed that it was the latter. Maddie arched her eyebrow and turned to the coffee grinder. Ashley stepped around the corner and stood close enough to Maddie to occupy her field of view. Every time Maddie turned, Ashley again repositioned herself. She was waiting for Maddie to notice her. After a minute, Maddie decided that having Ashley hover around her was more distracting than indulging whatever it was she wanted to talk about. What do you need, Ashley? I don't need anything, said Ashley. Though, now that you mention needing things, I think you might need something. I think you might need something. Such as an advisor. Ashley smiled triumphantly as she delivered the word. What would I need an advisor for? To advise you, of course, said Ashley. And I suppose you have a suggestion for who I should take on as advisor? Well, said Ashley, now that you mention it, I'm not too busy. I could be your advisor, because you're an expert on advising. And that's what an advisor needs to know about. And what makes you an expert on advising? I've been learning a lot about advising, said Ashley. They get to help make important decisions, and then the person they're advising has to take responsibility for them. That's why I'd make a good advisor. Because you don't want to take any responsibility for your actions. I'd take responsibility for my advice. But if someone follows my advice, then that's their decision and their responsibility. I don't think I need an advisor, said Maddie. Oh, but you do, said Ashley. Aren't you always complaining about how busy you are? Yes, said Maddie. So busy that I don't have time to have extra counseling sessions with you. I'm not going to be your counselor, Maddie. I'm going to be your advisor. The difference being, a counselor counsels, an advisor advises. Of course, said Maddie. Busy people always seem to have advisors, said Ashley. The Prime Minister has advisors. Presidents, too. All the most important people have advisors. Their advisors tend to be more experienced than they are, said Maddie. Advice travels from those who have it to those who need it. Well, I'm doing fine, so I don't need advising, said Ashley. But you could do with some advice, and I'd be happy to give you all the advice I've got. Plus, you're more important than I am. Or you're kind of like the Prime Minister of the terminal, or the President of the terminal, or whatever. The kind of person who needs advisors. I see, said Maddie. So, am I hired? You already have a lot on your plate, I'm sure, said Maddie. No, said Ashley. I've got lots of time free. In that case, you have time to wash these dishes for me, said Maddie, tossing a drying rag to Ashley. Let me know when you're done. Wait, said Ashley. I'm only free to advise. I'm physically fatigued from a long day of work. Only my mind has extra processing power. I can only help you if it's by advising. Well, advising has some physical responsibilities associated with it, right? Said Maddie. Like sometimes an advisor will go to places to get important information. I so, said Ashley. I can do anything that relates to giving you information. In that case, advisor Ashley, I need you to give me a report on which of these plates looks best when it's sparkling clean. They're all dirty right now. Exactly. Time for you to do some investigative research. See ya. A child too smart for her own good. Seriously, why are there so many books in this coffee shop? Like, this is like this is a small library. Alright, the heck? A URL. From Janet Anit. Jean Bean 19 at yahoo.com. Subject: Spirit Beacon leaking. Date: January 25th, 2014. 7:58 a.m. To admin at terminalvelocity.org. Hi, I'm Madeline. This is Jeanette from the local down by the docks. From the location down by the docks. I believe we met in person for the first time last month. I was opening up this morning and noticed that most of our spirit juice was gone. I checked the map and saw that your nearest location was a spirit beacon. I think you may have drained some of our supply. Honest mistake, I'm sure. But if you could stop running your spirit beacon during peak hours, that would be much appreciated. Thanks, and looking forward to working with you in the future. Jeanette. From Jeanette Aniet. Jane Bean 19 at yahoo.com. Subject: reply: Spirit beacon leaking. Date: January 28th, 2014. At 1:59 p.m. To admin at terminalvelocity.org. Hi, Madeline. Hope you got my previous message. Just wanted to give an update on the spirit juice situation over here. I had several bottles that I marked last night just to confirm the issue. And when I got in this morning, the levels were below where I marked them. We're definitely losing spirit juice, and you're the only spirit beacon close enough to be affecting us. Please modulate your use to reasonable levels. I don't think this should be a problem as long as you're not running your beacon overnight. Again, not trying to assign blame here, but please be considerate to folks at the other locations. Thanks, Jeanette. From Jeanette Haniet. John Bean 19 at yahoo.com. Subject: Spirit beacon leaking. Date: January 31st, 2014 at 7:37 p.m. To admin at terminalvelocity.org. Madeline, we are draining spirit juice over here so fast that if I sit and watch, I can see disappearing from the bottle. You're the only spirit beacon that is even remotely close to where we are, so we really need you to stop. If it's affecting us, then it's probably affecting other locations. This is completely unacceptable. Fix this now. Jeanette. From Jeanette Aniet. Jean Bin 19 at yahoo.com. Subject: Spirit beacon leaking. Date: February 1st, 2014, 7:37 p.m. To admin at terminalvelocity.org. Hey, Madeline. Can you explain why you weren't at the terminal today when I showed up? I spoke with a girl named Ashley, who said you decided to take the day off. What a coincidence. I was not impressed by the crying routine you had her do. Honestly, you should be ashamed of using a child's fake tears to try and hide from a situation that you caused. Turn off your beacon. I don't want to be the bad guy here, but if you don't do something, I'm going to have to get the council involved. From Clarice Froome. Clarice Froome _Froome at yahoo.com. Subject: Misplaced cutlery. Date: February 8th, 2014, 5:34 p.m. To admin at terminalvelocity.org. Hi, Maddie. This is Clarice from the docks location. Just wanted to give you a heads up. This morning we found out that the site manager was recently hired. I believe you met Jeanette last month. Was leaving spirit juice in untempered glass bottles, and we had a bit of a leak. Wow. God damn it, the manager tried to save on, like, fucking costs by cutting corners and blaming other people is such a real and annoying ass fucking... Holy shit, I'm actually mad. That actually makes me mad for this fictional situation with how realistic it is. Fuck. We ended up having a bit of a problem with some animated cutlery. We have the situation under control here, and we're mostly sure everything is accounted for on our end. Unfortunately, this started happening about a week ago, which might be enough for something to wander off far enough that we wouldn't be able to detect it. Very unlikely that this happened, but just wanted to give you a heads up in case a possessed steak knight wandered off far enough to find your beacon and decides to pay you a visit. Sorry about this situation. Rest assured, that the person responsible for this won't have any opportunities to mess up anything of this magnitude again. By the way, are you planning on going to M's birthday next month? Regards, Clancy. From Maddie Zhao, admin at terminalvelocity.org. Subject, reply, misplaced cutlery. Date, October 12th, 2014. Ooh, we're reaching the end of the year almost. 6:42 p.m. To Clarice Froome at yahoo.com. Hi Clarice. Sorry I missed your message earlier. I no longer use this address. Please use contact at terminalvelocity.org for anything related to terminal business. Hope you enjoyed M's birthday party. I don't remember why I couldn't attend, but I'm sure it was a good reason. Maddie. And that's the end. Like, I'm actually a little agitated at that. I'm guessing that this one is the way forward, given its... Let me get a little drink first. I do not talk this much ever. You're overdue this week, said Ned. He tapped the list of rules that Maddie kept posted by the door. This 24-hour rule... Oh no, my pillow. This 24-hour rule, are you sure you've been enforcing it? I think how we run things around here is none of your business, said Maddie. Actually, it absolutely is my business, said Ned. In fact, keeping the rules is basically my only business. That's kind of what the word enforcer means. I'm supposed to scold you for breaking the rules. So, audit me. Fine, said Ned. Let me check your ledger. We don't keep a ledger, said Maddie. Maybe you should, said Ned. Lots of places do. It's a great system. You have someone stand at the door and have them mark it down whenever someone comes in or leaves. Then you'll forcibly evict people who are overstaying their welcome. I'm amazed that you don't have a system like that in place. Some people overstay their welcome, some people understay it, said Shay. There's no need to strictly keep track of how long people stay, right? Just maintain the balance. You're right, said Ned. All that matters is maintaining the balance. So maintain the balance, because when you don't, then we have a problem. We're a bit short-staffed to have someone acting as a full-time doorman, said Maddie. Figure it out, said Ned. He tapped the board listing the rules. Change 24 hours to 23 hours. When you say 24 hours, people think you just colloquially mean one day, and they don't pay attention to the specific time. When you say 23 hours, people actually have to keep track of what time it is. That would be fine, said Shay. Except for the part where you're cutting time for people's stay. Trust me, said Ned. Anyone who'd go right up to the limit is probably going to go over it. 23 hours is going to mean 23 hours plus an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. Half hour plus however long it takes to finish their drink. And if they leave in less than 24 hours, who gives a shit? I give a shit, said Shay. You're right. You should give a shit, said Ned. In fact, you should celebrate whenever you manage to scooch someone out of here in under 24 hours, because the balance is upset and you've got to correct it. You can either correct the balance on 1 hour at a time, or the council can come in here and repossess some souls. Or we can find someone who knows how to manage this property responsibly. We turn to Shay. Come on, buddy. I don't want to take this place away from you. That would be quite the escalation, said Maddie. Well, you're already on the first level of escalation, which is a stern talking to, said Ned. Let's try not to escalate it any further. Shay sighed. Well, Maddie cut him off. We'll change the rule to 23 hours, okay? Buzz off. Wow, really? Said Ned. Okay then. And while we're rewriting the signs, we should also take the green tea frappuccino off the menu. Fraps should be for coffee, not tea. Done, said Maddie. Wait, really? Said Ned. Damn, I didn't realize you were so open to feedback. Also, the caramel, we're taking it under advisement, said Maddie, placing a hand on Ned's chest and physically pushing him towards the door. Hold up, said Ned. What are you doing? Removing an unwanted guest, said Maddie. I need to practice if we're going to start enforcing those rules you care so much about. Now said Ned, as he continued backpedaling to stay upright. Look, you could just... Bye, said Maddie, as Ned crossed the threshold out of the cafe and Maddie shut the door in his face. She turned around, leaning her back against the door inside. Shay raised an eyebrow. You're serious about the rule change? Yeah, said Maddie. I'll change the sign and the menu after we close tonight. Wait, really? The rule changes to keep him off our backs, said Maddie. And the menu thing? I've been meaning to take that off anyways, said Maddie. It's the kind of menu item that attracts the worst sort of people. Well, okay, said Shay. Though I do think we should change the rule back to 24 hours after things have had enough time to balance out. Of course, said Maddie. Wouldn't want to upset the balance too far in the opposite direction. But what do we do with all the extra time anyway? I'm free! Enter doodle mode? What is doodle mode? Do I get a doodle on things? Yum, 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 yum. In doodle mode, you can draw a face for each ashling. Whenever an ashling appears throughout the game, you'll be able to see your artistic masterpiece. Oh my god. Yes! Yes! Alright, what to give the jug? Perfect. Is there anyone in chat who can give me an emoticon? Until then, Lovins doesn't get one. Is that a sex toy? Lawrence. Why am I up here? Oh. I guess we slowly gain access to more of the store, although maybe there's something behind that door. Is there a door upstairs? Something behind that door. Maybe we can go outside. I don't know. That sounds it's like the easiest next step. Continue. Day 2, 12 p.m. The terminal. Rise and shine. Don't wanna. You shouldn't waste your last hours on Earth sleeping. Man, I was hoping that I was having a really long, weird dream. Sorry. No such luck. I'm still having trouble getting my head around it. I totally understand. Want a coffee? That's ominous. That's ominous as fuck. Yeah, just something simple. Extra coffee coming right up. What's going on downstairs? I didn't even know you had it downstairs. There's more to this place than meets the eye. Maddie's down there desperately trying to fix our debt situation. Sounds like she's hosting a cage match or something. Well, not exactly. But she's mentioned wanting to do that. There's some wrestler called the Red Comet that she wouldn't stop talking about for a while. And then, because of that, Ashley got obsessed with wrestling for a bit. And kept trying to suplex me. Did you manage to? She's tiny. A couple of times. It was very humiliating. I can imagine. But to properly answer your question, Maddie is running a gambling ring. What? Downstairs? All by herself? It's a fairly conventional one. Unconventional one. And by unconventional, I mean mortals generally aren't involved. The stakes are higher than usual. Oh. Coffee's ready. Go over and get it. They gamble for time, among other things. You don't sound like you're a huge fan of the idea. I'm not. It's undignified. I mean, as long as Maddie is not in danger, shouldn't it be fine? The council doesn't like it. They turn a blind eye because we don't cause trouble otherwise. But I'd rather not have to worry about bad things coming our way, because Maddie refuses to approach the problem from a different angle. And by the problem, you mean the debt, yeah? I was pretty drunk, but I think I remember Maddie storming off after Dad turned up. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about her. I wish I could help. You all seem pretty nice. The thought's appreciated. Maddie will figure it out eventually, though, I'm sure. She just needs time. Hey, thanks for the coffee, by the way. I just realized you haven't actually made me pay for a bunch of them. How'd you expect to pay for them? Alright. Yep, no cash. If I were feeling particularly capricious, I'd ask you to pay Todd. But you're a nice kid, and you need every minute you got. You want to head downstairs? I can see your eyes darting to the stairs. I'm not going down, but I'm also not going to stop you. Yeah, if that's okay. Go on, then. I'll stick around up here. A little coffee. A little tiny coffee cup. Catch you in a bit. I forgot what they were called. Espresso cup, I think. I want 42 shots of espresso in this cup. The stairs that led down to the basement were solid and well-worn. With smooth ruts on each step and a handrail that had been polished to a silky sheen through years of use. Kashan had always liked stairwells. People never linger in them for long, and he had found them to be a good place to catch a breather. He wasn't obsessed with them. That'd be weird. But he definitely appreciated a nice set of stairs. On further reflection, it was probably a little weird. Downstairs, Maddie's audience clamored for blood. From you to me. With the understanding that your remaining moments on this plane are limited. You surrender this time, freely, without coercion, as agreed. Contract filled. You are free to go. That's 3 in a row. You bloodthirsty bastards. The crowd cheers. Maddie was clearing an expert at winding them into a frenzy. Who's next? The room fell dead silent. Come on, isn't anyone here brave enough to challenge me? I thought you came here to play with knives, you pansies. Seriously? Anyone? Don't hold out on me. Do I need to pick someone out from the crowd then? Is this what we've come to? Maddie's gaze swept the audience. Kashan! Good to see you upright. Interested in a game of skill? Me? Yes, you. Oh, sure? Give me some enthusiasm, my man. Sure. What's the game? 5-finger fillet. Some of the people in here just call it the knife game. You heard of it? Oh, finally, something I'm good at. Episode 3. Rise and shine. Xbox, I need an emoticon. Oh no, it's a perfect one, actually. Yes, thank you. I've got a lot of knives, and you've got a lot of knives in this place. Tell me about it. Is this going to be an actual minigame, or... Damn, this thing has a good weight to it. Of course, I wouldn't make you compete with an inferior tool. Ah. But, sorry, I was waiting for you to skew into calling me an inferior tool. Or segue, but I am illiterate. Segue into calling me an inferior tool. Shit, that was low-hanging fruit, wasn't it? Next time, mate. Sure. Kashan did another experimental slash. This time it made an audible whoosh. The spectators oohed and ahed. But that wasn't for them. But this wasn't for them. He knew that he only had one shot to get accustomed to the blade. mind showing up? Nothing wrong with putting on a little show. Sounds like you're stalling for time. Getting cold feet, perhaps? Not a chance. Let's get started then. You know what you're wagering? Jerry mentioned something about gambling with time. Now, it's not gambling if it's a game of skill. But that's beside the point. We're both wagering 4 hours. If you win, it comes from the cafe's balance. If I win, it comes from yours. You've got around 16 hours left in case you weren't keeping track. Shit, only that many. Want a little extra time to play with then? Hell yes. Let's stop wasting it and get this over with. You're sure you know what you're getting into? Most people are pretty shy about playing with the time they have left, especially when their tanks running as empty as yours. Yep, come on. Unless you're getting cold feet. Hardly. You've got 30 seconds. Smack the timer when you're ready. Oh! The crowd cheers and Kashan fed off their enthusiasm. In response, Maddie leaned back and tapped her finger on the table, feigning impatience. He met her eyes, grinned, and continued his performance. His stabbing motion got faster as he went, at the point narrowly missing each of his fingers. Stab, strong enough to drive the knife a millimeter or two into the table. Or good if you wanted to put on a show. And of course, giving the spectators a show was part of the fun. You might be going fast enough to put on a show, but you're not going fast enough to win. How'd I do? 16 cents. If I counted correctly? No. I couldn't do 16. That's how many Maddie beat me with. Is she gonna lose? Nah, she's gonna kick his arse. Feeling good about that result? Certainly am. Radio then. Watch closely. Oh, I will. 16. 1. 3. 7. 11. 1, 3, 7, 11, 15. Told you, she's unbeatable. Is it magic? She could cheat if she wanted to. Definitely not. She's just that good. Poor guy, he didn't know what he was getting into. Sorry, mate. You beat me fair and square. I'm pretty impressed. I aim to please. I'll be taking those hours now, if you don't mind. Yeah, sure. How does this work? Just like this. You won't feel a thing. Sean felt a brief tightness in his chest, and for a moment, the tip of Maddie's finger burned white hot. Oh, shit! Sorry, I lied. It's done now, though. Alright, does anyone else dare to compete with me? Come on, looking for some actual decent opposition here? I'll take any challengers, even if it's just or something. Any challenge? I challenge you to get everyone a drink. Rounds on me. Didn't realize you were watching. There wasn't anything happening upstairs, and I got bored. Right. So, you took some hours from Kishan, huh? Yes, I did. Do you feel good about that, Shay? Do you? I won them fair and square. He didn't know what he was getting into. He knew what he was getting into. He might not have known the skill of his opponent, but he knew what he was getting into. There was an obvious power imbalance here that you were exploiting. He knew the rules. That doesn't change anything. You let him believe that he'd get some extra time, and buried a miracle on his part. That absolutely wasn't going to happen. It doesn't matter. He's just passing through. A couple hours won't make any difference. Maddie, I'm disappointed in you. Our patrons respect us. We need to earn that respect by treating them with respect ourselves. This is not respectable or dignified. Cheating vulnerable passer-throughs out of their time, we're above that. We're better than that. don't care whether you think it's dishonest or not. I want you to give that poor man his time back. Don't pout. This is serious. I feel like a broken record saying this, but while I understand your intentions are good, you can't keep doing these things. It's all for you. If you really want to do this for me, find another way. This isn't worth it, Maddie. It breaks my heart to see you like this, and I know that you're trying your hardest. But this really, truly is not worth sacrificing your own self-respect over. Everyone here respects you, but your gambling with hours just cheapens that. I'll give the hours back. Shame. I was pretty great with that, with a knife. Still not as good as me. Yeah, it was pretty close. Shouldn't waste your last hours on the earth sleeping. Rise and shine. The faces. Lovins. Yes? What form did you have before being reborn? I think it was a crab. Come on, I'm being serious. Ashley wouldn't harvest spirit liquid from a crab. You're assuming an awful lot about how squeamish she is. As far as I can remember, I lived above streets next to the sky. Bird. So, a bird then? Wings and feathers and such? No, not that. I don't remember flying though. A flying squirrel. Or a sugar glider. Oh, were you a sugar glider? Describe? Did you eat insects and tree sap and flower nectar? That is familiar. I wonder how Ashley found you then. Could have been anything, really. You mentioned bright lights earlier? Ooh. It was a moth! Yeah, I'm thinking you got hit by a car. That seems likely. It's not bad. I mean, you're here now, so... Whether you like it or not. Shut up. I am still adjusting. Yeah. Studio mode is now available. Beth 1. Oh, billiards 2. Ron Hobby. You okay back here, little buddy? Oh. Sorry, something was stuck in my teeth. Roll Battle Royale Robots. Power Rankings. Alpha Charlie Echo. ACE. All of the commentators call this robot Ace. Probably because it's so good. It seems biased for them to call one particular robot Ace, but obviously, No, see, that's how it got its name, when it wins all the time. At first, it looks like this button doesn't have a weapon, and it's just designed to be really fast and agile. Then you realize that its entire body is a weapon for ramming into unsuspecting people. The weapon is a great tactic. This would be a great tactic if you got into a fight, but you didn't have a weapon. You don't need a flamethrower or a buzzsaw if you have a 150 kilogram body and can ram into people really fast. This probably wouldn't work very well for me because I don't weigh 150 kilograms and I'm pretty small. But this isn't a problem since I usually carry things that can be used as weapons. Used as weapons. Like, I could carry a crowbar, and then, if someone tries to attack me, I could take the L end and jam the crowbar under their feet, and then pull it up and use it to knock them off. Balance, even though I am probably smaller than those people. I'm not sure why it's named Alpha Charlie Echo. I assumed it was a remark of it was a remake or made in the style of a bot called Alpha Charlie. But there aren't any other bots by that name, and the team that made it are all rookies. Also, none of them are named Charlie. Maybe it's named after someone's dad or brother. Their next robot will probably be called Beta Charlie Echo. Or maybe Alpha version 2 Charlie Echo. Or Final 2 Echo Charlie. Maddie opened an herb jar inside as she examined the contents. Rotten. She'd been pouring them down the sink. I hate poppy seeds, she muttered to herself. I won't tolerate that kind of hate speech around here, said Shay. Too bad the rules aren't yours to make, old man, said Maddie. You should have thought of that before you handed me the keys. I could help you get the keys back, said Ashley. I've got a magnetic grabber that... The keys are a metaphor, said Maddie. They're not some kind of magical talisman that grants ownership over an establishment. But there is a magical talisman that grants ownership over the establishment, asked Ashley. Yeah, said Maddie. It's called the deed, and this deed entitles me to certain privileges, such as expressing my hatred for poppy seeds. Hate is not good for the soul, said Charlie. Or Shay, sorry. Hatred corrupts the soul. Hey, I'm new here, said Kishan. But, are you talking literally? Does hate actually corrupt the soul? No, hatred does not corrupt the soul, said Maddie. Nor will poppy seeds, despite being a distant cousin of, the bay leaf. Wait, what? Is that true? Chat, is that true? The thing is, I actually really enjoy both of those. Like, I love a good poppy seed muffin. And a bit of bay and, like, on, like, soup or something. Or, like, it has, like, some garnish. Anyway, it's a good thing, said Shay, because Maddie's soul is full of hatred. Trust me, I've seen the ultrasound. Once again, as the new guy, I gotta ask, are you talking literally? No, hatred does not show up on a ultrasound, said Maddie. I'm going to, and I assume the thing about bay leaves corrupting the soul is also a metaphor? Oh no, said Maddie. That part was entirely literal. Bay leaves absorb bitterness. You always remove the bay leaf from something before eating. Bitterness, as in figurative bitterness? I was talking literally, in the sense that bay leaves absorb figurative bitterness. But yes, they also absorb literal bitterness. I'm so confused right now, said Shay. Just don't absorb a bay leaf into your soul and you'll be fine, said Maddie. It's not that kind of thing that happens accidentally. Are you sure? Said Kishan. Because I think I may have accidentally ingested a bay leaf one time. My friend's grandma made this big pot of chili. The soul is not connected to your digestive tract, said Maddie. It's not your gut. Aww. So unless you're inhaling your food, it's not going to be a problem. Ah, so the soul is connected to the lungs. Got you. Again, Kishan. New guy here. Soul? Respiratory system? That's a thing? Oh yeah, said Maddie. Why do you think people are so into burning herbs and inhaling them? I always assumed that it was just how I don't know exactly how cannibals work, or cannabis works, but it's like psychoactive? What? Said Maddie. No, not that herb. Like people who burn incense. Huh, said Kishan. That's something new. That's why you always have to watch out for when herbs go bad, said Maddie. Someone might accidentally inhale some of them. Yet, another reason to hate poppy seeds and their short shelf life. Sean's eyes narrowed. How long does it take for poppy seeds to go bad? These went bad in a matter of months, said Maddie. A matter of months? Kishan said. How many months are we talking? Here, maybe 30, said Maddie? Sean did some counting on his fingers. 30 months is 2.5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Jay piped up. You left that jar of poppy seeds for 2.5 years? Maddie nodded. As I said, a number of months. 30 is a number. 30 is an injustice, said Shay. How have you not touched poppy seeds in all this time? People don't actually like poppy seeds, said Maddie. People just like the muffins. Hey, come on. No, don't you fucking call me out like this. I love poppy seeds. I love the poppy seed muffins. No. If you give them a muffin without poppy seeds, they'll like it even more. Poppy seeds just make everything worse. People love poppy seeds, said Shay. Me, for instance. I have a great love for the humble poppy. Really, said Maddie. Then how is it that you've never touched the jar of poppy seeds in the past 30 or so months? It's been sitting on the spice shelf. Shay shrugged. I like lots of things. Evidently, during the past 30 months, I've found things I enjoyed more than the humble poppy seed. I'm offended by the idea that you would discriminate against such a lowly and unpretentious food item. You like the idea of poppy seeds, and, said Maddie. You like the idea of an herb that comes in discrete units called seeds. So, that you don't have to wonder about how much a sprig is. It's something that you can picture, as opposed to cumin, that you wouldn't recognize even if I said it on your tongue. Or rosemary, which you probably forgot was a spice and which you couldn't tell from thyme. Doesn't rosemary and thyme have like a distinctly different smells and tastes? I might be mistaken. I'm not some culinary expert. When you see me disposing of poppy seeds, it pains you because it's something you can conceptualize. If I told you that I hate cumin and I had to flush a bunch of it down the sink, would you be bothered by that? Probably not, said Shay. Cinnamon, on the other hand, I would be. So really, it is not I who am discriminating against the poppy seed. It is you who is discriminating against non-poppy seed spices. There is no reason for us to have poppy seeds anywhere in this cafe. People claim they want them, but you can go years without ever serving up a single poppy seed, and no one will notice its absence. A woman wearing a loose green sweater walked up to the counter. Were you just talking about poppy seeds? Yes, Maddie. Or yes, said Maddie. We're all out. Oh, that's too bad, said the woman. I was hoping you might have a, Don't say muffin. Don't say muffin, thought Maddie to herself. Don't say anything about poppy seed muffins. A poppy seed muffin, said the woman. My grandmother was really fond of them. She grinned as Maddie tried to avoid cringing. That woman in the green sweater said, "They used to be a part of the standard muffin trifecta, chocolate, blueberry, poppy seed. I always wondered why cafes stopped serving poppy seed muffins." I wonder," said Maddie aloud. "It's been so long since I've tasted one," said the woman. "Yeah, years I'm guessing," said Maddie. "Yeah, it's been years," said the woman. The poppy seed discrimination is real. Did we read? Indeed, Borb. My throat. We'll come back down here once we go up and paint the Ono face onto one of the canisters. Pardon me. Kishan's footsteps echoed in a way that startled him. Were his footsteps always so loud? God, I fucking feel that in my soul. I swear, I will be randomly walking or like just doing something. I'm like just suddenly start overanalyzing literally everything I'm doing. Like, were my hands always this big? Was my head this small yesterday? It feels so small compared to my hands. Have my hands grown? Have my head shrank? What is going on? Cause like yesterday, I swear, my head felt larger in my hand. Ah! God, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing. No! The body dysmorphia, even though I don't usually have body dysmorphia, because I'm actually fairly comfortable in my own skin, luckily. Perhaps it was just the contrast with the surrounding environment, which seemed completely silent. That made his footfall seem so jarringly loud. As he walked along the catwalk. He was on a catwalk. Why was he on a catwalk? There seemed to be a gaping space below him, filled with some sort of mist that he couldn't see through. It was fog-like, and yet, despite the fog that lapped at his feet, the air felt so dry. The air was thick here. As he breathed heavily, Kishan felt the overwhelming sweet, sickly odor, like the smell of wet or rotting wood. But all he could see around him were steel beams and a concrete path in front of him. Was it rust he was smelling? No, he knew the smell of rust. He knew the smell of rust. This was different. The smell was somehow organic, like the smell of a forest after a fresh rainfall. Kishan shivered. Far in the distance, he could see what looked like a building of some sort, so far away that it made the structure he was inside feel almost like a tunnel. Almost tunnel-like. As if its only purpose was to convey him to that distant building. He continued walking forward, but as he walked, the building seemed to be growing more and more distant. He quickened his pace, and as he walked faster, he could feel himself moving through the thick, stifling air. Yet, as he looked down, he could see the texture of the catwalk in front of him, unchanged, as though he were walking in place. Kishan started to turn backward, but saw only a blinding light. His eyes immediately shut, and when he opened them, he was facing into the tunnel, with the distant building at the center of his field of view. He tried turning around, but every time he tried to turn his head, his eyes involuntarily shut at the sight of the light, and he was forced to close his eyes or look away, always confronted again with the sight of the small hut when he opened his eyes. His heart pounded violently inside of his chest. The tunnel was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat. Was his own pulse inside of his head? Something about this place felt deeply, incredibly wrong. Get back. I have to get back. He tried turning again, and this time found himself unable to even begin rotating his body before his eyes snapped shut. Placing him again in a world of darkness until he opened them again and was confronted with the sight of the small hut in his instant, now looking more far away than ever. I have to get back. Kishan kept facing the building and took a step backwards. As he placed his foot on the ground, he felt a gust of wind knock him forward. He let out a yelp of terror. Instinctively, his hand reached for the opposite edge of the catwalk as he fell, trying to steady himself for fear of falling off. The catwalk was wide enough for that his body didn't need to land close enough to the edge for that to have been a risk. Yet as he looked toward the edge, he felt a growing sense of dread that there was something down there that would capture him if he allowed it to catch even the smallest hold of him. Almost as though he thought it. He felt the sensation of something pressing against his legs. He stumbled to his feet. He ran forward. The hut ahead of him seemed to grow no closer as he ran, but he ran all the same, running not to reach a destination, but to be away from whatever it was that was behind him. Moments ago, his only thought was an overwhelming desire to turn back, a worry that he was somehow trapped in here. But now, that worry was replaced with an overwhelming sense of dread that propelled him forward. He had been pushed forward by something. Something was behind him. Kishan leaned forward and ran. He was no runner. He often found himself winded when forced to climb more than one flight of stairs. And yet he ran and felt no sense of tiredness holding him back. No need to catch his breath. Maybe it was the trick of the air that somehow never allowed him to run out of breath. Maybe it was the fear of whatever it was behind him was that strong. Kishan felt the air stinging at his eyes as he ran, but now he was running so fast that the thick air felt like a hot wind on his face. Tears began running down his face, but he couldn't find it in him to raise a hand to wipe at his eyes. That would mean slowing his sprint. So he closed his eyes, fully aware that he was running down a catwalk that had no handrail on either side. At this point, he didn't care. He ran and ran. Long after the tears on his face had dried, Kishan realized that he could hear only the sound of his own feet as they struck the catwalk. He couldn't even hear the rush of wind, even as it seemed to buffet his face. There was no sound of anyone or anything pursuing him. Perhaps there was no pursuer at all. He allowed himself to open his eyes and look down. He looked over his shoulder. This time, there was no blinding light, only a distant glow, like the light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was a light at the end of a long tunnel. And in observing the dim glow of the distant light, Kishan suddenly realized just how far he had run. He turned around and saw the building right in front of him. It had windows that were covered with the same fog that covered the ground around him. Kishan reached for the door handle. He half expected it to be locked and felt a moment of panic as the handle bowed under the pressure of his hand. Was he ready to face whatever was on the other side of that door? Did he even want to enter? Did he have a choice? What was it that awaited him inside of this building? Answers, or more baffling questions? Kishan looked down the tunnel and suddenly felt cold. Whatever this place was, he needed to escape it, and the only form of egress that seemed available to him was the door of this building. He leaned on the handle and felt the door swing open. We aren't going to enter studio mode yet. Alright, so it's a O, an N, and an O. He looks so sad! No! Like, it looks so normal in text format, but he looks so sad with it as a face. Chat, I need a different emoticon. I can't give Lovelace a face like this. Lol, okay, okay. Ooh! Well, we already have that face, sort of. No, we'll redo this one. Perfect. Oh! 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 Ah! Look at you turn into a reasonable human being. Let's go find out what studio mode is. Huh. You. Yo. Huh. Well, we're going to we're gonna exit that. I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab some more water. Oh god, I'm disgusting. I'm so sorry. Okay. Beth won. Let's go, little girl. I just don't know why I'm so gaseous all of a sudden. Why does this always happen whenever I do like large radiant blocks? I just start pushing all the excess oxygen out of my body. Well, not necessarily oxygen, but like you get what I mean. Let's go, little girl. Let's go, little girl. The man standing in front of Beth smirked. The knife he held seemed almost slight compared to his massive hand, but that didn't make it any less intimidating. Finish this one quick, came a call from behind the knife holder. 3 men stood behind him, wearing expressions which ranged from amused to bored. I'm gonna back out of this one. That one feels like it needs a trigger warning. Just immediately right off the bat. So we're not going to be doing Beth's story. You know, kid, you've got style. Brad perked up. It was the first unsolicited remark he'd heard from Old Man Thomas all night. He'd kept expecting a compliment after beating Thomas, but to hear that kind of comment after a loss makes him perk right up. Thanks, said Brad. It wasn't a compliment, said Thomas. And just like that, Brad's mood came crashing down. Thomas continued. All of us players back in the day, none of them had style. Style doesn't win tournaments. Sure, said Brad. Consistency is what wins tournaments. Consistency doesn't mean anything, said Thomas. That's a symptom of skilled play. It's not a thing that you can just decide on. No one sits down at the table and thinks, gee, I better be consistent today. Nobody. So, if you're not thinking about consistency, what are you thinking about? Fundamentals. Thomas talked to the end of his cue. Fundamentals are what matters most. Because if you don't get the fundamentals right, all the fancy shit isn't going to matter. Thomas leaned down to line up his cue. The straightened shot is your specialty. The several opponents told me exactly that. Tongue in cheek, thinking that they were insulting me, but I take it as a compliment. If you can control the cue ball, you can turn any shot into a chip shot. That's what you want to do. That's how I can still sink them, even at my old age. I know. I've been watching you," said Brad. "Your cue ball control is incredible. You're a very talented player." "Not talented," said Thomas. "You can do it too. The question is whether you've got the discipline and the patience." Thomas followed through with his stroke and hit the apex of the triangle head on. He sank 2 balls, one striped and one solid. He pointed to the striped one, signifying his choice. "I'm plenty disciplined," said Brad. "When I was in high school, I'd come out every day after school and put in at least 4 hours of practice. Sometimes I'd come in after dinner to squeeze in a few hours more. Then on weekends, I'd come and spend all day up here." "Of course you did," said Thomas. "All the pros have. Anyone can put in time. At a certain point, what matters can't be the number of hours you put in, because everyone puts in that time. What matters is how you use that time. And it seems like you've spent a lot of time practicing trick shots." Thomas lined up and made several practice strokes. Brad found himself getting annoyed with Thomas. Brad knew better than anyone to try to talk to Thomas while he was lining up a shot. Yeah, that was bad etiquette, and just bad swordsmanship, plain and simple. But it kept him from offering timely retorts. to Thomas's statements. It was bad sportsmanship, Brad decided, to talk to an opponent in a situation where etiquette forbade him from responding. Thomas finally took the shot and sunk his solid colored ball, but a bad bounce put the cue ball in the pocket with it. Brad sighed with relief as he took control of the ball, and with it, control of the conversation. You're right, it takes a lot of practice. Brad lined up a shot, aiming at one of the balls in the opposite corner. If he could hit the angle just right, he took the shot, and the cue ball knocked one of the strike balls into the back left pocket, before ricocheting and hitting another ball into the back right pocket. A clean double. Brad tapped to the table with his cue, as if to emphasize the shot he had just made. Ugh. You don't learn how to do shit like this overnight. That's a nice trick, said Thomas. Now, can you do the same thing 10 times in a row without messing it up? No, said Brad. It's a hard shot, but at 10% for most people, I'm good. I can get it 30, 40%. A 30% shot isn't worth taking, said Thomas. If I offered you a coin flip, bet with a weighted coin, would you take it? Of course not, Brad. And yet, you take the low percentage shot. I make it a higher percentage shot, though, said Brad. Yes, and I'm sure that you look like a big hero by doing it. And when you miss, no. And when you miss, no one calls you on it. Because defensive shots are boring, said Thomas. You can play defensive, said Brad. But you don't win games by playing defensively. Of course not, said Thomas. There's nothing on the scoreboard that lets you tabulate the places where you denied your opponent's point. Brad was angry now. And he began lining up his next shot. So, just so he wouldn't have to hear the old man talk. Some players might get tilted in a situation like this, but Brad played better than when he was emotional. Whatever it was that made him play better under pressure also made him play better while angry. Fuck my throat! Ow! He couldn't even think about the shots he was making. He was operating on pure instinct and conscious thought. The thought that was chased away by anger was only a distraction. Brad tried for another double. He missed the second ball, but one was enough to set him up for a triple bank shot, which he followed with another shot that he put spin on. He didn't even need to curve the ball around anything. He just wanted to show Thomas that he could do it reliably. Fortunately, he didn't get punished for it. His last shot placed one of Thomas's balls between the black 8 ball and the white cue ball. Brad knew that he could sink the shot easily by hitting Thomas's solid ball into the stripe, but he was on fire and wanted something flashy. Don't do something flashy, bro. This is what he was literally talking about. He struck the cue ball's base, driving the leather tip of his stick into the table, and it bounced the ball up and over Thomas's ball, hitting his own ball and sending it into the pocket. Brad turned to Thomas with a look of defiance. Looks like this game is mine, old man. Yep, said Thomas. He took another sip of his beer. Is that all you have to say? Yep, said Thomas. Yep, said Thomas. Why is that in quotations as well? Hold on. How about, oh, you outplayed me. Do you need me to tell you that? Said Thomas. A little acknowledgement would be nice. A moment after he finished saying it, Brad found himself cringing. He sounded like a petulant child. He was frustrated, angry, and disappointed. But knowing all that about himself didn't make any of it any less true. there were so many typos. Like, what's with all the extra quotations? Thomas shrugged. Thought you played to win the game, not for validation. Oh, give me a break, said Brad. That line coming from a pro. When you compete, you play to win, sure, but there's money on the line. And the money goes to the person who gets the W. You play to win the game, you get the money. But I get the feeling you're playing for something else. What are you talking about? Said Brad. You play to impress people. That's different from playing to win. That's why you've never taken defensive shots. I just won. Yep, said Thomas. But you weren't playing to win. Just because you happened to win doesn't mean you made the right decision. How the hell does that make any sense? Said Brad. Thomas took a coin out of his pocket. Here's a hypothetical. Suppose I have a coin, and I ask you to call heads or tails on a $1 bet. Now, you know that the coin is weighted. It lands on heads, 70% of the time. What do you bet on? Heads, of course, said Brad. Now, I flip the coin. It comes up tails. Bad luck, Brad. You just lost $1. But, did you make the right decision? What? Thomas continued. If you had called tails, you would have won the bet. Clearly, calling tails is the wrong decision. But, sometimes you make the wrong decision and get short-term payoffs. And that's why the fact that you won doesn't necessarily mean that you made the right decision. And sometimes these things only reveal themselves after you flip the coin hundreds of times. I've played hundreds of games, said Brad. And that's as a pro. Practice games. I play 100 games in a week easily. Maybe 200 games a week depending. And how many times have you played the WBC? I won the WBC, said Brad. Right, said Thomas. That's the thing about that calling tails. Sometimes, if you make the wrong choice, randomness comes up in your favor, and you happen to run hot. But, in the long run, things don't quite pan out. Brad threw his cue down. So, now you're saying that my wins were all due to luck. Not all luck, said Thomas. Like you said, it takes some skill and to take a 10% shot into a 30% shot. A lot of skill, in fact. You've got good hands and a good eye for the ball. But the lust for a cool shot supersedes that. You would rather fail spectacularly than win through boring play. Fuck you, said Brad. You know what? I actually won the WBC. Maybe I did run hot for just 1 year. But at least I have a championship to my name. You made it to the finals 6 times and lost every time. And now your career is done. You're over with. And you'll never be a WBC champion, a title which I hold. By the way. You're right, said Thomas. I don't mean to knock the high variance approach. And maybe that's what you want. To win once and then burn out. Yeah, that is what I want, said Brad, annoyed to find himself graying with Thomas. What have you done with your life since retirement, old man? Ever done anything wild? I bet I've lived more in one night than you have in your entire life. I'm happy with the way I spent my life, said Thomas. No regrets. His eyes softened. Can you say the same? The question should have come as a challenge. But there was something in Thomas's eyes that looked at Brad that made it feel even worse. I see his point of view. Like it is like philosophy on life of like live a steady, boring life. You'll be like mildly happy for it, but like taking chances are how you like. Granted, I'm being a bit hypocritical as I haven't taken really many chances I even want to actually take. But still. Thomas's expression wasn't one of antagonism. It was one of pity. Brad knew, deep in the pit of his heart, that Thomas wasn't doing it to attack him. And that made it sting even worse. Brad started to say something, but found himself choking on a lump in his throat. And as he reached up and felt wetness on his cheek, he realized that he was crying. Oh, that's the end of that. Sometimes you do need to take those chances. Says the man, not taking those chances. More out of laziness than fear or anything. Is the door hollow? It seems off about that door. No, it's just... What was that shape? It's so blue over here. Why is it so blue back here? What? This is the depression corner, I guess. What achievements there are. The blue light filter, oh no! God, my throat is murdering me right now. Like it's a scratchy, like burning feeling almost. I think I might be allergic to talking. Day 2, 5 p.m. outside the terminal. You right? Oh, he has some tools. Yeah, I guess. Cool. Mind if I join you? Go for it. Dury? You want a Dury? I'm sorry, Dury. Coffin nail. Cigarette. Do you want to smoke or not? Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sure. Sorry, it's been a weird day. No, smoking's bad for you. No, stop it. Stop it. Smoking's gonna be the death of you. Thanks. No worries. Where are you from, then? Huh? You're the first to ask. I live in, Collinwood. Oh, yeah. Whereabouts? Smith Street. You know, they say smoking takes 5 minutes off your life or something like that, like each cigarette. So does that mean him smoking just costs him like an extra 5 minutes or something? He's literally just burning his remaining time. Like, it's almost definitely not bad, but like, kind of funny. A bit pricey up there these days, isn't it? But you, like your Avo toast. Piss off. I've got housemates. Well, now I know what you mean. Bit odd. Being dead and all that. Takes some getting used to. People keep saying that, but it doesn't make me feel any better. I understand. Do you? I reckon as much as anyone can, yeah? Right. Hey, what's Avo toast actually taste like? Huh? I've never had it. Can't you go out and just eat some? I'm sure Maddie could whip it up if you asked. Avocados are a highly malevolent fruit. Don't trust him one bit. Plus, I've got this whole situation. Oh, so that's what the straw was for. You got it. So, what does it taste like? I don't know. Like avocado and toasted bread? Avocado is kind of cold and mushy, but it's got a good taste. Like peas? Yeah, definitely better than mushy peas. Love me a bowl of mushy, love me a bowl of peas, mate. What? Because they're one of the. Well, because they're the only thing you can eat through a straw. Watch yourself. Gonna zap me with your death council powers? First off, it's the Council of Death, not the not a death council. Totally different things. Secondly, you really think that's what we do? Walk around shooting lightning out of our fingers? Well, when you put it like that, sounds a bit silly, yeah. We don't do anything like that. We just keep things running smoothly is all. Harassing cafe owners to settle their time debt isn't something we like to do often. So you just keep the peace? As fucking as moronic as that sounds, yeah, that keeps the peace. Dude, I know. Want another? Sure. No, that's 10 minutes off your life now. Fishnets. I love the sunrise here. 5 minutes per Does that mean somebody who takes 30 minutes to smoke a cigarette loses more life than somebody who just sucks the entire thing down in one gulp? I love the sunrise here. They're alright. You watch many sunrises, Ned? Not enough, no. Even semi-immortals need their sleep. I just like to sit here and watch it. Even when it's cloudy or rainy, there's just something about watching the sunrise that makes it easier to deal with the coming day. Feeling optimistic all of a sudden? No, I still feel like shit. How about you, Kishan? Kishan? I don't feel great. I'm still having a lot of trouble, huh? Guys, I'm dead and I only got a couple hours left before I got to go, and I don't think anyone here really probably understands what it's like to see your last sunrise ever without any idea of what comes next. And that is really fucking terrifying. And I'm never gonna see my friends or my boyfriend or my family again. I'm just gonna pass on and I'll never know how they'll remember me or mourn me, or if I'm ever going to be remembered as a good dude who tried his best, or if I'll just be forgotten in a year. But that good dude who tried his best couldn't even win a friggin' game of five-finger fillet in the basement of a cafe that basically sits on the banks of the Styx, as far as I can tell. And God, I can't even tell if that matters. Are the stakes low? High? I can't tell. I'm so disordered and disoriented, and I'm trying so desperately to feel something, but all I feel is that I'm slipping away with every second. I'm losing myself, but by degrees. That's incredibly scary, and I don't know how to deal with it. Yeah, fair cap. Or was that comp? I actually came back to apologize for that. The game. Oh, for God's sake, Maddie, you been gambling again? Can it, Ned? Kishan? I shouldn't have taken that time from you. You took it fair and square. I don't feel like I did, so I'm giving it back. Believe me, I'm as surprised as you are. I don't usually do this. What's the difference this time? That's my business. I can't believe you're still swindling people out of hours to try and fix your debt. Dude, I know. It's bloody undignified. And it's a clear violation of the rules. I'm banishing you right now, my man. I thought you'd just stop pulling that crap once you took ownership of the cafe from Shay. Really think doing this is going to help you pay this debt? Yes, absolutely. And if you've got any bright ideas on how to do it otherwise, I'm all ears. We should have never granted you and Shay those licenses to practice. You've obviously failed to be responsible with them. You really think we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't have the licensed Bushman? given your history and hypocrisy on display here, it's astonishing. It's all behind me, and you know it. I've been working on doing some good for the last 100 years. With the council? Really? Yes, we maintain the balance. You know why that's important. Sure I do. I don't need you moralizing at me for your ivory tower. Give it a rest, guys. But I'm pulling the last day on Earth card. Quit it. I'll be inside. Come find me when you want those hours back, Kishan. For what it's worth, I'm sorry about all this. I've never been to the other side. I was always too afraid to leave. Walked the land for decades, evading the council. That's a crime they call revency. Staying too long, upsetting the balance. But in lieu of booting me straight to the next place, some sort of eternal punishment, the council offered me a job. Sorry, that's all the stuff you don't care about, I suppose. It's interesting enough. Nah, I'm just filling up empty air. We should head inside, grab those hours back. Truth be told, I'm not feeling especially fond of Maddie right now. She might have been dishonest with you, but even I can tell she is at the end of her rope. And you might not be able to see it yet, but I think the people in there are fond of you. You think so? Maddie wouldn't have offered the hours back if there wasn't something different about you. Plus, that kid Ashley, she seems to like you, yeah? I guess so. She kinda just dragged me off and got me to hold screwdrivers for her. Trust me, she thinks you're great. Go on. Go inside and say hi. I got some business to go stick my nose into anyway. Alright. Catch you in a bit. I've got some questions about the council. Of course. I won't be out for long. Later, mate. Hey. Yo. You want those hours back? Guess so. It's only 4 hours. I don't think it'll make much difference. If it's okay, I'd prefer that you have them. Ashley's been enjoying having you around. Just Ashley? And me too, I guess. You seem pretty reluctant to admit that, my dude. Don't psychoanalyze me. Just a minute. Alright, lay your hand on mine and place your index finger on my wrist. This is part of your ritual, or just an this part of your ritual, or just an excuse to hold hands. Shut up. Thanks. Watch carefully, and no matter what you do, don't move your hand. There's usually a binding spell I use to make sure that doesn't happen, but I've run out of reagents required, and you probably don't care about that. True? Alright. Yep. I give this time freely and without coercion. As above, so below. I maintain the balance. Ow. I maintain the balance. That's it. How do you feel? I actually feel better. I feel less itchy. Yeah, we weren't kidding about that yesterday. As you linger, you begin to upset the balance, and, as I understand, it doesn't feel good. Right. Yeah. Why does Ned get to stick around then? Does he just ignore it? The council are a special case. They're more similar to demigods or demons than they are to us. That's fascinating. Tell me about it. I'd have joined ages ago, but they're uptight dicks. They don't seem so bad to me. That's because you have not run into any of their ridiculous rules. Bunch of bloody regulators on manipulating life force. Bunch of bloody regulations on manipulating life force and certain standards on the treatment of spirits. Is that why you gave me those the hour back? Because Ned realized you broke the rules? No, that was all within guidelines, despite his blustering. I gave them back because I felt bad, that's all. Oh neat, so you pity me. I love that. I'm actually really into it. No dude, it's not like that at all. No, you don't need to clarify, I get it. Seriously. Last day on Earth. Moving on. Sure, I'm sorry. Sir, I've got to serve this customer. I'll help. Really, I think it's probably not a two-person job. Yep. Come on. Day 2, 6 p.m. The terminal. Whew. Anything else that needs doing? No, I'm gonna take this tray of glasses into the kitchen. You can go chill for a bit. I'll take them. You need a break. Sure. Where's the kitchen? That way. You'll find it eventually. Cool. Back in a minute. Your pawns are nothing compared to the raw power of my castle. Nothing! Yeah? What's this then? Ah! My castle! Brought low by my own hubris. No, it was just a pawn. And maybe a little bit of hubris. Bishop! Knight! Ah! Your other castle then. Check. Check, you say? Oh, well, I didn't think of that. You activated my trap card. Alright, come, check this out. I tricked him into a false sense of security. Oh man, that's embarrassing. You seriously let her outmaneuver you like that hard? Yes. I'm very ashamed. I suppose the real hubris was inside me all along. I freaking love winning. We should try doing this more often. A chance to win at chess. Could grow into a big winning streak, you know? You want to play something with us? I should really head back down to the bar. There's nobody there. Come on, take a load off. I know you really need to. They'll know where to find you. How about I grab us all a drink? Make sure there's nobody waiting down there. And then we play something. Won't be 5 minutes. You actually gonna come back this time? You never come back. I'll come back. Promise. Why don't you pick out a game on top? Let's find something, actually. What do you feel like playing today? Something. So we want lots of dice. Dice it is! We'll see you in a minute, Maddie. 6:15 p.m. Ashley's workshop. Wobble, 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 wobble. Is this D&D? And that's why the 4th season of Row Battle Royale was an absolute betrayal. Like, it looked like a D&D, like a map. And like there's characters on it. But you still want to... It could be Clue, I guess. Or something similar. But you still want to be on it one day. Well, yeah. Unless an indie circuit opens up. Like in wrestling? Exactly, like in wrestling. Melbourne's got a local show. I want something like that. You could probably put your own local league together if you worked really hard. Perhaps you could build the robots and get people to battle them. Human-controlled bots are boring, though. I want to get more of the spirit juice and put together a bigger Ashley. How big? Just a generic board game? Yes, I love generic board game. It is so much fun to play generic board game with 4 to 5 members of my friends or family, all of ages 8 or over. I think I'll start a car size, then move on to a more of a bus adjacent form factor. 20 to 200. What is this? A VR chat? I am playing no 200-person Monopoly. Most people wouldn't be able to get a property. Like, even if every person got one property, most people wouldn't be able to get a property. Oh dear God, beyond all reason with 200 people sounds hell. I mean, actually it might be a bit easier on me as I could just focus on like being like just in the background generating resources. Build a, like focus on like building defenses and such too. Just be a real like a static asshole who like prevents anyone from doing anything to my side. Computer would go burr though, yes. I'm not sure we have enough power enough to power one of those. You have to get Maddie to source you a large amount of it. We need liters of it, at least. That'd be super cool. Didn't you say it was illegal though? Well, technically. But what Ned doesn't know won't hurt him. How would you hide a bust-sized robot controlled by spirits? Girls performing necromancy over here with fucking cars. This is how we get the Cars movies! Fuck! Live action Cars movie! No! He'd lose his head if he knew half the things we were doing around here. I don't know, he seems fairly lenient with you, right? He wasn't always like that. A long time before you turned up, he nearly shut me down because would you believe it's because I sheltered a criminal? Ned nearly shut you down because of that? Am I thinking of the same criminal you are? Trust me, the irony was very apparent. I found it very, very funny. What sort of criminal were they? Just a minor demon on the run. I don't know what she did to get a price on her head. I just took her in when she stumbled through the door, dripping blood everywhere. That's metal. It was extremely metal. How long did you manage to hide her for? Oh, not too long. Maybe 6 weeks. The time flew by, if I'm being honest. Why is that? Was she from the clock realm? What? No, nothing like that. Well, we bonded. Magically? How'd you do that? I thought I heard you tell Maddie that sort of thing was impossible between beings on this plane. Not magically. We were lovers. Ew! Yuck! Happier days. I love hearing about when you were young and reckless. Gosh, what do you think I am now, huh? Old and boring? Definitely old. Despite myself, I must say, you're definitely not boring. There's that, patented Maddie charm. Well, you know me, I'm full of them. Oh yeah, charms, hexes, curses. That's all on your account, old man. I won't deny it. Hey, Maddie? Hey, dude. Having trouble finding the kitchen? Yeah, I couldn't. I checked everywhere. It's just behind the bar, man. Can't miss it. I told you, I checked everywhere. Nah, you're not catching my drift. It's just behind the bar. You can't miss it. Have another look. It'll be there this time. Sometimes you gotta remind the quantum hallways that they exist. Fine. How long are we gonna keep him here, Maddie? Oh, we're keeping him? No, we're not keeping him. I'm going to let him stay as long as he wants. He'll leave on his own accord at some point. You just feel sorry for him? Weirdly, yes. I don't usually get attached to customers, but he's a good dude. I like him. Do you like him because he's nice, or because he was good at passing your tools over? Yes. Just yes. Don't get too attached. He's not gonna be here forever. Well, I don't know. Well, duh. I know how it works. I'm going to enjoy having him around, just like you taught me. I don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Ashley, that's from the motivational calendar I threw out last week. I never said that. Same thing. Same. I'm used to people moving on is the point. I can deal with it. We'll be calling it here soon, by the way, given there's only 4 minutes left to our stream. Good. Day 2, 6:30 p.m. The terminal. Also, the idea that you have to remind your hallways that they exist is kind of amazing. No, the cup! Fuck! Yeah, can I keep staring at the coffee stain or not? Yes. Okay, whatever. What do you want from this conversation? I'm an open book as far as matters of life and death are concerned. Yeah. I don't want to go. I know you've probably heard this from, I don't know, 1,000 people or whatever. It's not about staying around for people or wanting to go back to my old life, as wonderful and not stressful as that sounds. Like, I'm not afraid of what lies on the other side. I don't think there's any point to worrying about it until they're there. I just don't think I've spent enough time here. The cafe? No. All this, I guess you'd call it this plane? Roughly speaking, I suppose so. I want to know what you did to be able to stay here. Stay. Sure. Did Maddie give you those hours back? Yeah, why? Well, that's why. You can just find enough hours to stay as a spirit, half here, half gone. But it's a wretched existence. I wouldn't want to live like that. How would you find those hours, though? There's only so many people you can get from constant beings, right? The crappy psychology of gambling aside. That's right. Yes. You're right. Yes. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you create life from nothing? The answer is that you can't, Kachan. It's impossible. There's always got to be some sort of balance maintained. Everyone who learns to manipulate the fundamental life force understands that. No matter whether they're doing good or bad things, good or bad things with their skills. Here's the thing, though. You don't need both parties to agree. It's just a social nicety. Sometimes that separates us from, well, people who don't do that. That's why the idea of vampires, that's where the ideas of vampires come from, for example. Those bastards. They're not special or anything. They're just dickheads. Anyways, if you can take the life force from people, you can also drain it from animals or plants. But in this business, there's a lot we don't or can't understand. One of these things we can't understand is why life force from animals and plants is tainted. It feels gross. If it didn't, everyone would take it. Consequences be damned. How are you feeling today before Maddie took your hours back? I felt like I was slipping away. Like my mind was really foggy. It was really hard to think or put sentences together. Nobody really noticed, though. Typical. Imagine that, but 10 times worse. You're foggy, but there's also something fundamentally wrong. Like you're a collection of puzzle pieces that don't quite fit together. Like an engine that's running out of oil. That sounds horrifying, right? So, should I do it? Yeah, probably not. How would I stay otherwise? Well, you could always go on the... You could always go in the lab, just run for it. But you would catch me. Not me, personally, but yes, the council would eventually. And that's it? That's my only option? Perhaps. Depending on how you feel about bonding your soul for eternity to a fundamentally neutral arbiter of justice. I have no strong feelings about it, one way or the other. Smart arse. You would regret it if you stayed here forever, instead of moving on. I don't know, I guess that'd be up to me, right? How do you mean? In the end, how I feel about taking a big branch in my life, that's just a matter of how I frame it. I can focus on what I'll regret, sure, but it's not a useful way to spend my time. If I focus on the future, on everything that's in the possibility space, instead of outside of it, that's probably better for me, yeah? Sure. You don't sound convinced. Yeah, I'm just ambivalent on it. I try not to think about anything too hard these days. But if you're willing to accept eternal bondage with the Council, I can keep you here. It's not easy work, though. You have to act in the best interest of the system, not its individual parts. Bureaucracy at its finest. How did you learn to deal with it? Just took some time. When you're used to it, you learn not to think too hard about what you're doing here. As long as you take a holistic view of everything, things generally shake out alright. We tend to only bother the biggest rule breakers anyway. Maddie being one of them? Ugh, habitually. She wouldn't be getting so much leeway if it weren't for Shay. I don't understand that guy. He's nice. We've chatted a bit. But what makes him so special? He's provided services in the past. I can count on the number of people who know as much about the manipulation of life force as he does. He's been researching it for over 100 years. No way, is that old? He looks like 60 max. Yep, much older than that. Wild. We're getting sidetracked though. How do you feel about joining the council? I don't hand out offers willy-nilly, you know. I'm interested, but can I have some time to think about it? How much time you have? You've been out for nearly 24 hours. You were overdue. Put on Maddie's tab. Okay. I'm certain you're not going to stick around forever. Unlikely, if the next few hours are anything like how I felt this morning. I'll stick around until you have a solid answer, then. Cool. Wanna get drunk? We're already drinking, mate. Nah, she told me about something pretty special he's got behind the bar. Unless it's really special, he's probably offered me some. And even then. So you've tried the bottled soul? You're pulling my leg. Nope. You've gotta be mistaken. You haven't seen it in person, have you? Oh yeah, I actually have seen it. That's quite illegal. I expected better from him. Damn it. So, are we gonna drink it or not? Sounds the regulations urge me to confiscate it, or force the owner to dispose of it. We'd be doing him a favor then, I suppose. Come on, dude. Jay said it. Did I knock you flat? When you say you, do you mean me or you? Or just anyone who drinks it? Anyone. It's like 200% alcohol or something. That's not technically possible. Well, I'll admit, my interest is piqued. Well, let's not waste any time. Damn it. This was the setup, wasn't it? Basically, you win, I'm... Oh, this looks deadly. Good thing dead people can't get alcohol poisoning. Hey. Oh, I missed that. To bureaucracy. To bureaucracy. Jesus, I thought this was end within, like, you know, that drink. Yo, your order's arrived. 3 days late, mate. It got held up by a mutual acquaintance of ours. Ah, shit, that explains why he's in my hair. I'll be there in half an hour. But even semi-immortals need their sleep. End of the line. I suppose we'll have access to the outside of the shop now? No, I forgot about them! No! Oh! The catabasis is considered to be a vital part of the hero's narrative. Every hero goes to hell at some point, and in the stories they usually come back, which is a bit that seems weird to me. I don't think that's how it works in real life. The cafe has had a bunch of heroes come through, claiming that they were going to conquer hell and come back. they never returned as far as I saw. The idea of cataphylaxis is that, in the grand scheme of things, hell or the underworld or Hades or whatever you want to call it, anyway, it's on the other side of wherever we are. Like, we're trapped inside the sphere, and we leave it to go to hell. The ancient Greeks ever considered that maybe we've been on the outside the whole time, just waiting to get in. Maybe they did. Matter of perspective. Maybe they did. Matter of perspective, I guess. I'll ask one of them if I ever meet them. But perhaps we're just waiting our entire lives for this to pass through the firmament to the next place. To be driftwood that washes up on the shore of whatever the next place actually is. Seems weird, but maybe that's where we're naturally meant to be. I think it's possible that the world isn't some sort of proving ground or anything. Maybe it's just a waiting room. A beautiful, flawed, complex waiting room. Personally, I don't think there's anything like heaven or hell waiting for us. No judgment either. The world doesn't even operate in binaries or absolutes. The world doesn't ever operate in binaries or absolutes. That's just all of human thinking projected on things that are much more complex than they can even ever perceive. And I don't think what's waiting on the other side is even something that we can conceptualize. I bet it's cool. Fuck, my throat! Ah, why are there so many words? It's a shame. That it's a one-way trip, though. Woo! Ah! What's that? We'll be calling it here, my cuties and my beauties. I love you all. Thank you for stopping by. I don't blame you. Maybe one day. Something. You can now speak to Twin and Hannah to experience the side story Walking into the Sky. Who and who? You know, fuck it. Once I run out of games on my Steam profile, I'll do just that. I'll open Wikipedia and just read an article a day. Hold on. That's such a slow descent. Guys, look at me jump! Whee! Whee! Wait, there's there really 7.1 million articles on Wikipedia? If I do one a day, how many years is that? Quick, pull out a calculator. Quick, pull out a calculator. 7.1 million divided by 365. Oh, there's the people I was talking about. 19,425 years? You would have to read about 1,000 a day to read the entire thing within 20 years. That is a lifelong project. For one person to narrate the entirety of Wikipedia. In its, English Wikipedia, in its current state. Not including having to do, like, updates for articles that get, like, updated. Or, articles that are made after you start. That is like a full-time job at that point. Almost 25 million articles total? Okay, chat, here's the plan. We get the entire human population of, like, New York City or something like that, or London, to just read one article a day until we and record it and post it until it's all done, and then as an article is made for that specific event, because obviously they're going to have to make a Wikipedia article describing the event of, like, an entire city worth of people, like, doing voice recordings for Wikipedia. We'll get people to record that too, and just fuck. Well, I mean, if I read fucking 7.1 million articles, then I would very much like to have a Wikipedia article about me, possibly with links to the rest of Wikipedia, given I am relevant to the entirety of Wikipedia after that point. Or maybe every Wikipedia link, or like Wikipedia page, having like that audio recording on it, would then link to my Wikipedia page, so everything links back to me. I would become John Wikipedia. Anyway, stop by the YouTube, the Discord, the Twitch that you're actively on, or I guess if you're on YouTube, you could go by the Twitch. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. You know, the usual spiel. Spiel. Wait, hold on. Is that avocado toast? Has that avocado toast always been down there? Anyway. Oh, there's a birthday thing on Wikipedia right now? I'll have to check that out. But I need it here. Have a good day, my cuties and my beauties. See you tomorrow. Oh, it's 25? God damn, Wikipedia's kind of old. That's actually really cool. Anyway, bye. Bye.